illness. I think the cardinal parts of the illness are what's called post-exertional malaise, where any kind of effort, physical but also mental, makes all of the symptoms worse, typically about 12 to 48 hours afterwards.
When you look at the patient perspective, post-exertion malaise is described as a debilitating crash following minimal exertion that can take weeks to recover from.
One of the first things that a physician should do is stop telling the patient to go exercise. This is one disease you cannot exercise. If the patient's telling you, if I went out to walk 2 blocks and I would basically be in bed for a week, and the patient was a marathon runner 10 years before, I think we'll be a little foolish telling the patient to go exercise.
The first graded exercise program I tried was early on in my illness and it made me much worse. Most people I know with ME have exactly the same experience with it.
And then I was given graded exercise therapy, and after that I was completely bedridden for 2 years. I was really, really, really sick. So graded exercise therapy can actually be harmful.
I had to walk, and you had to increase walking by 10% each week. And as I began to get sicker and sicker, I was told, this is the moment where you push through and you get better. I started the clinic being able to walk about 4 minutes each day. I ended and I needed a wheelchair.
One participant in the original trial has contacted me. She says, it never occurred to me that it would actually make me more ill, nor did it occur to me that the decline would not be documented, and that despite patients not recovering, or in some cases worsening, they would publish the treatment was successful. It was stressed I would only get better if I tried harder. And even though the graded exercise was making me worse, my struggle and pain was dismissed.
And as I understand it, you took part in the original trial that is now so controversial.
I found it to be very unhelpful. I was being pushed far too hard in terms of doing aerobic exercise. It made me quite ill.
I spoke in the debate last year about Merrin Crofts, who is one of just 2 people in the UK who have had myalgic encephalomyelitis recorded as a cause of death. And Merrin's mother was very critical of the PACE guidance given by NICE and attributes the worsening of Merrin's condition to it. She tells me that Merrin thought she could push through the condition and keep going, although her family really wanted her to slow down. And sadly, it was only when the family contacted a private medical practitioner that Merrin was given the advice to slow down and told that she needed to rest. The specific advice given was, whatever you feel you can do, only do 50% of it. And Merrin's mother feels very strongly that had Merrin been given that advice when her condition started, she might not have gone on to develop severe ME. And Merrin's mother said to me, if the PACE trial were a drug, it would have been banned by now.
In fact, it was actually my son, when he was still able to talk, who said that when he heard about the PACE trial and that they recommended exercise, he said, these people are absolutely nuts. It makes you worse. Well, that's absolutely true. The recommended procedure of doing graded exercise is absolutely nuts, and it makes them worse. And how in the world can governments recommend exercise? It's barbaric. And it's extremely barbaric. It's sort of government-sponsored malpractice. And I think we need to think of that as malpractice. It's clear evidence that that's not the right thing to do. How in the world can it continue?
the evidence that people are being harmed, and the Minister is hearing that today, that evidence today, isn't there a possibility that a future court could compensate ME sufferers, given we know that evidence, the Minister knows that evidence, and medical professionals know that evidence?